But remember that you cannot force her to see anything or learn anything. You leave the means up to the Holy Spirit that you are asking help from. I want you to remember that in spite of whatever her belief system is, she is still the presence of God. She is still divine. And the remembrance of what is true about her is, I'm going to say, embedded in her, never to be lost, and that it is there waiting for her to rediscover, to re-embrace. And then I ask you to pray, to desire for that light bulb going on, that aha, to occur in her, because it's already there to be illuminated. I can't talk to you about her illness because there would have to be something real there to talk about, you see. That's like talking about the problem, and I have responded by talking about the solution. Never make the problem real by getting a better understanding of the problem. Okay.
The next question is from Kathy. A few times when I have meditated in the past, and once in a lucid dream, I heard a stern, loud voice call or talk to me. Was that you, Raj? I was startled by the intensity of the voice. What is that all about? Thank you.
Well, it was not me. It was your guide. And what you call the intensity of the voice is really that when your guide speaks, there's no indecision, there's no distraction. His full attention is focused, you might say, or embodied in the communication. When you speak to others and you're not sure of yourself, or you're not sure of the information, or you lack confidence, your voice does not carry the weight, as it were, that it would if you felt confident, if you were well versed in what you were talking about, if you had had a lot of experience with it. And in a sense, your voice from that vantage point would be clearer, louder, more easily apprehended by those listening to you. Singleness of purpose, singleness of intention is communicated, whether you're using a soft voice or not. And so you were experiencing intensity that amounts to your guide's devotion to what he's saying. It was a good experience. Invite it, invite it, invite it again. Persist. Yes. Okay.
The next question is from Craig. Raj, my divorce is underway and headed for court, which I tried very hard to avoid. I feel like my ass is definitely on the line. My questions are this. Am I moving through this as you advised me before? What am I being asked to learn or release? Am I doing so? Are my sons okay? Thanks, Raj.
Everything is, as they say in England, spot on. What are you learning? Well, as mentioned to someone else, you're learning of your strength. You're learning not to be an innocent victim. You're learning to recognize that there is a difference between what is principled and what is not. And the difference is not a matter of opinion. I know the ego would love for you to think your ass is on the line. But you know what? You can't lose your ass, no matter how threatened you might seem to be. You will keep it with you entirely. Be willing to stand up for yourself all the way to the end of this process. When I say stand up for yourself, I don't mean that in any way that could be taken egotistically. To stand up for yourself means to not violate your integrity. It means that you will not voluntarily override your integrity. And it also means that if others demand of you that you override your integrity, you tell them no. So that you remain singularly clear within yourself. And you don't confuse it by abandoning your integrity for any reason. So, you follow through one footstep at a time, whether it is comfortable or not. And it will bring you to a new level of comfort. And what frightened you before will no longer frighten you in the future. And you will have grown. And you will be able to be more honest. In other words, you will be able to present yourself more honestly with less fear, which means there's going to be more peace. And more of an experience of equilibrium, just because, just there. That some effort has to be put forth in the process of growth is never a sign that you're on the wrong track. Being on the right track does not mean you will not have to put forth effort, that everything will just flow effortlessly. No. Sometimes, most of the time, growth is causing you to enlarge your borders, to embrace a greater and fuller sense or experience of who and what you are. And that is going to override old inhibiting habits And you have to apply a little bit of effort to move beyond your old habits. Again, I cannot fault what is happening at all. Stick with it right through to the end. Okay. Actually, we're going to take another 15-minute break. Okay.
Our next question is from Reverend Donna. What do I need to know about smoking? What do I need to know about what I should be doing? I need to see healing on the physical level, which I know is spirit. Thank you.
Well, first of all, let's remember that all substance is spirit, which means that the energy is, for lack of better words, intelligence embodied. The substance that is spirit is actually love. What I'm leading up to here is the fact that everything that you encounter, whether it's a cigarette or whether it is a flower, is the embodiment of intelligence. The energy constituting the pattern that you recognize as these things is spirit and is therefore love. What this means is then that the cigarettes don't stand in opposition to you, but in alignment with you. And if you come to a point of decision within yourself that you want to stop smoking, it's not going to be a contest. Most people conceive of it as a contest, and their decision equals their experience. But the fact is, if I may put it this way, your decision to quit smoking will cause you to be met with, for lack of better words, a willingness on the part of the cigarettes to disengage from you. They will work with you because the substance is the only substance there is, which is spirit, which is love. Don't see the cigarettes as oppositional, and you will not engage a contest. I simply want you to understand that an actual decision on your part not to smoke anymore will be met with cooperation on the part of the cigarettes. They're not interested in holding you hostage and never have. Your dedication to them has given you the experience of what you call a habit. The habit is as strong as your decision was to be devoted to them. So, take this in and abide with it. and understand that there does not need to be any struggle. Now we have talked about body, and we have talked about healing somewhat extensively today, and I really have covered the truth about it that answers your question about healing. What I just said about the cigarettes applies equally to your body. Your body is more than willing to cooperate with your intent to see it as your ally, as the visibility and tangibility of your individuality, which is perfectly divine. Its intent is to identify your presence perfectly, which, as I've said before, means that its intent is to identify God presencing himself right there where you are perfectly. So, it is going to reflect back to you as much of your perfection as you can justify letting in. It is eager to identify God perfectly and for you to have the conscious experience of that perfection as you. The ego sees everything in conflicted and polarized terms, which means that anything that happens always happens as a product of polarity. Whether it's electricity, whether it's a battery, if an engine turns, it's because the turning of it is a product of polarity. But polarity isn't the way reality functions. Your body has the intent because it is a complex combination of energy patterns, the energy being spirit/love. Which is incapable of being polarized and therefore at odds with itself, or of a polarized nature that can be at odds with you. Embrace this fact. Let it stand as the fact, with a capital F, for you, instead of the accumulated beliefs associated with matter and the way matter functions. Bring God into your conscious awareness of your body. God is not there to plead with, to intercede on your behalf, to bring a body, a material body, into health, into orderliness, even though it's outside of God's creation. It's very important. And as often as I need to share this, I will, as a reminder, so that all of you can begin to adopt a new frame of reference, a new mindset, if you will, that is more closely in alignment with reality, so that you are introducing less and less dissonance by virtue of having an opposing, incorrect interpretation of body that you then react to and are afraid of. Okay. Thank you for your question.
The next question is from Freddie. I love my cat Daisy, but she has started meowing incessantly in the wee hours of the morning near the apartment door, or sometimes in the bathrooms. She also has been throwing up her food 2 or 3 times a week. Is there anything I can know that will help the situation? Raj?
Yes.
May I respond?
You may.
It won't be enlightened or anything, but it's just, I used to have a cat that had some of the same symptoms, and our cat ended up actually pulling all its hair out of its sides, and when we ended up taking it to the vet, luckily we had gotten it to them just in time. He had a bladder stone blocking his system, so it sounds a lot like it, and I'd hate to miss the opportunity to share that. Thank you.
I appreciate the love in your response. And the fact is that my common sense answer to you was going to be that you simply need to take it to the vet. Just a moment. That is the end of the answer.
The next question is from Marcus, and I'm not going to try to answer this one. That was a joke. Raj, you have spoken of an opportunity to move house, which has arisen. At the time, you said not to delay, and we have acted. There are quite a few problems with the house, and the vendor insists on a rather high price. In its present state, it wouldn't be suitable to live there with our children. Are we to sell the house in town? Are we to use it as a center? I have listened for guidance, but I'm still wondering, what is the purpose of it all?
Would you read it one more time? That's me, Paul, asking.
Raj, you have spoken of an opportunity to move house, which has arisen. At the time, you said not to delay, and we have acted. There are quite a few problems with the house, and the vendor insists on a rather high price. In its present state, it wouldn't be suitable to live there with our children. Are we to sell the house in town? Are we to use it as a center? I have listened for guidance, but I am still wondering, what is the purpose of it all?
Yes. Pursue the house, even though it will need to have work done on it. Attend to having the work done, and do not hold on to the house in town. And this is me, Paul. The picture or the feel or the image is of like a ball of light, meaning your family, and it's like and your life activity and so on. It's like all of that moving to the new house after the repairs are done, and having all of the energy there, not not divided between the new house and the house in town. So I just want to share the imagery. That's the end of the answer.
The next question is from Dara.
I'm sorry?
The next question is from Dara. Can you please talk to me about self-worth and how to develop self-awareness beyond roles?
Well, I will tell you that the easiest way to get beyond roles is to pay attention to your needs. Just pay attention to how you feel. Roles always require you to act outside of your integrity. Roles are for others, not for yourself. Roles are an act that you engage in for approval or respect. As a result, all of you move through your day being artificial. As a result, it is hard to come by honest relationships. It's hard to come by interactions that have any substance to them, because everybody is busy maintaining their image, their role. Pay attention to your needs. Don't try to do what you can't do just because, quote, you're supposed to, unquote. I'll tell you that all of you have a need to be out from love. When you are not acting out roles and frustrated because the roles don't express you clearly, the emotion associated with it means or causes everything you do to be, to some degree or another, an expression of anger, which is not the expression of love. And when you abandon the roles by paying attention to your needs so that you are attending to them rather than what you're supposed to do, you will find the anger disappearing. And you will find the love that underlays every expression of yours when it's not being subverted or covered over by artificiality, arising and overflowing from you and being extended to each other. You're not going to feel self-worth until you're letting self out, until you stop covering it over with a mask. You know what? You would think that the expression of self would have to be powerful. Forceful. Declarative. Because you have been so oppressed by the roles you've been employing. But the fact is that when you abandon roles, when you just give up on trying to be what, quote, you're supposed to be, unquote, there is peace, and you find a gentleness to what's left. No powerfulness is called for, just the simplicity of genuineness.